everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books and welcome to another book series recommendation video. Hey you guys, welcome back. So thank you so much for joining me. It has been a long time since I have uploaded. You guys know that I got a new puppy who is right here, right now, all up in the midst of everything that I'm doing. And so it's been a little bit of a challenge to try to film anything, but we are all gonna figure it out and it's gonna be fine. Eventually, it's just gonna be fine. So if I have a little pup that decides to join us, just bear with me, okay? Just hang in there. All right, so really quickly, I just want to talk about, I finished up all of the Karen Rose books, and I read them in the order that Goodreads says, which is romantic suspense order. I'm not going to say that that's a bad thing, and I'm not going to say don't read it in that order. What I am going to say is that I think you would have a better reading experience if you read them according to the cities that she releases them. What I mean is this. So she has the Baltimore novellas, the Baltimore series, she has the Cincinnati books, she has the Sacramento books. I think if you read all of Baltimore together, because all those characters go together, you know the family members, you know the officers, you know their partners. It makes sense if you read it all together. Nothing is lost if you read them in publication order. So if you read all the Cincinnati books together, again, it all makes sense. It all falls together and you don't lose anything and there's no real spoilers. You know what I mean? You can read them in the romantic suspense order the way that I did, but I think you will appreciate the characters much, much more if you read them together. And the reason it took me all the way to the very end, because the most recent books that she has written is the Sacramento novels. And I think she is delving into a Louisiana series as well. You just know those characters. You're like all up in it. You remember what just happened to them. You know, like everything that's going on with their family members. It just makes so much more sense if you do it that way. But again, nothing to be lost reading it the other way. So I read the Sacramento books. Right now, there are 3 books in the Sacramento series, and that is Say You're Sorry, Say No More, and Say Goodbye. And all I'm going to say about this is that this is so fantastic. All of Karen Rose's books are a solid 4. I've told you that. The romantic suspense, like the spice, is like not that great. It's like probably a 2 for sure. It's not closed door. Like you're there with them in the bedroom, and you're there with like, and you're like, that's getting kind of spicy, but it doesn't get like over the top spicy. It's just like a little bit of a little hint. So it's all good. Like for what it is, it's fantastic. And like I said, she's a solid 4. Okay, so having said that, these books are about one of the characters' sisters who appears in the Cincinnati books. Right, I think she appears in the Cincinnati books. And she appears in, and her name is Daisy. And Daisy is the sister of, so there is an FBI agent or a special security guy who runs a security system in Cincinnati. He has a daughter that's long lost. When he finally tracks down his daughter named Taylor and finds her, Taylor has a stepsister named Daisy. And that is this book here. So you know some of the characters that come up. And so Daisy is from Sacramento, and she is, you know, living in a community there, and she is been highly protected her whole life. She is very aware when there are people that are around her that shouldn't be, and she's like very like hypervigilant because she's been raised to be hypervigilant because of some things that happen in the other books. Okay, so she gets accosted by this guy mistakenly, and he tries to abduct her, but because she knows how to handle herself, she is able to get out of the situation. And the guy that tries to abduct her is like, this is not going to stand. I am coming for you. I have to find her. I'm going to get her. And that's what happens in Say You're Sorry. And basically, it's the story of a serial killer that is trying to find her because she has this locket on her neck. And that locket speaks to a cult and an organization that has stolen young girls, married them off to older men, and caused them to live in like a polygamist type situation in a very closed community. So there's multiple stories being told here. And across the entire Sacramento series, you're hearing about this polygamous cult, the order members of this polygamous cult, trying to catch them, trying to figure out who they are, trying to solve the crime, trying to figure out who the killer is. But in here, there's one particular killer who is a serial killer. Here, there is a different serial killer. And over here, there's a different one as well. The puppy's kicking the thing. She's just all over the place. And so we're trying to figure out what's happening while there's particular love interests that are developing. And what I love so much is that from book 1, we are introduced to a kid named Tom Hunter, because his father is a serial killer and he tried to murder his mother, and his mother fled and went into hiding in book 1 when Tom was just a young boy. And now Tom Hunter finally gets his book and his story, and it comes up here in Say Goodbye. And it is like, oh my gosh, comes full circle. It's so fantastic. So it's like only 30 books later does Tom finally grow up and get his story. So again, I said I wasn't going to say too much about it, but again, I love it because this is like definitely a cult, escaping from a cult, the trauma that brings forward. There's also lots of conversation in each of these books about childhood sexual abuse, both for male and female, and what that does to you on the long-term basis, and long-term abuse, and whether or not you're able to overcome that, and what that does to your psyche. And if you already have a fragile psyche and a fragile ego, what you will do other people as a result of things that were done to you. And so, like I said, these are fantastic. Really, really good. I think her Sacramento series is the best of all the books that she has written thus far. Okay, moving on before the puppy goes crazy again. I want to talk about a new author to me, and I absolutely loved her. I'm reading another series that she wrote, and I think I love it even more. And this is C.D. Rice, a bind up of all of her books. And this is Submission, and this is a bind up of book 1, 2, and 3, Domination 4, 5, 6, and Connection 7, 8, 9, I believe. And there is also another sort of compilation of short stories about Jonathan and Monica that she wrote as well, that can be found on Audible. And so it is just absolutely fantastic. So in essence, what's going on here is, and I love it because book 1 is I'm Not a Submissive. And then it's You Always Belong to Me, and He is My Alpha and My Omega is book 3. And so in essence, what this story is about is Jonathan and Monica they meet, and they have a kind of a combustive relationship that sort of sparks off and tees off almost instantly. So in the very beginning of the book, Monica is a starving artist. She's a singer-songwriter, and she is roommates with her best friend Darren, who she used to date way back in the day, and Darren's sister. And Darren's sister is emotionally unstable and has bipolar disorder and is just not a stable individual, and has had previous suicide attempts in the past. And as a result of these previous suicide attempts, Darren and Monica have decided to watch her and to ensure that she takes her medication. But you know that this is a situation that's not sustainable, and you know that this is a situation that can't last over time. And some things happen, and as they're pursuing their music careers, because they all are in the music industry, playing different instruments, but struggling. And I also love that it's set in Southern California, in an area of Southern California that I live in and that I know well. And so when she's talking about Griffith Park and being in the Hollywood Hills and all these things, I'm like, oh my God, I was just there yesterday. I totally know all of this. So it's so fantastic. So some things kick off and it all combusts and explodes. And in the midst of this, Monica is trying to pursue a relationship with Jonathan, but Jonathan has a really sordid past. He has a past of, number one, he was married and he is now divorced, but everybody knows that he was in and is still madly in love with his wife. And number two, he is a sadist. And so, anybody that talks to Monica says, if you're going to get involved with him, you need to know that, number one, don't take it too seriously. He's beautiful. He's a billionaire. He's rich. He's wealthy, because this was written during the era of 50 Shades Grey. So he's beautiful. He's wealthy. He's all these things. But, don't take it too seriously, because you're not going to get what you want out of this situation. He's going to be a tumble, and whatever. But if you get too serious, you're going to get hurt. And so she decides to embark on this relationship with him. And it really is a very realistic account of their relationship and their interaction and what a BDSM relationship, but more on a 24/7 type of dynamic would look like. And so in the very beginning, because she has never been in a BDSM relationship, she doesn't know what to expect. Whereas Jonathan, because he has done this many times before, knows exactly what he wants. He is a fucking dominant, like through and through, and he is like, this is what I want and this is what I expect of you, and I need you in ready position, and like, and he's laying down and he's like, you're a natural submissive. And she just bucks. Monica bucks at this. She is like, she's a brat. She's like, I am absolutely not a submissive. I will not submit to you. There's one thing for me to be submitting in the bedroom, but I don't want everybody to know that I'm a submissive, because then every dude that I come across thinks that like my is wet and ready and they can treat me any old kind of way. And like, what does this mean? That I'm a doormat, like in the realm of feminism, and like me being a strong, independent female, and I'm a record artist, and I'm like, I'm trying to develop my career, and I don't want people to define me by my sexual proclivity, which is to be a submissive. So she bucks at this because some information gets out about her and him, and it's like kind of like a sex tape that's leaked, and it's some drama. But the realistic account in these particular books are, what is it like to be in a BDSM relationship? What does that mean? How do we navigate that? How do I navigate what I want internally versus what you're giving me? How do I navigate my professional career and when you come calling? And is this what I want for myself? And do I want to be dominated? I've been doing fine on my own, dude. Like, I don't need anybody to make me feel like a certain kind of way. And if anything, I kind of feel a little bit bad sometimes when I'm with you. So like, I can do bad on my own, dude. Like, I don't need help. And so it's all the thought process that goes along with, trying to navigate a new relationship and not let it overcome you and not let it make you fucking crazy. And all of us have been in new relationships, and all of us have had that like crazy like spark that you're just kind of like trying to get tethered to like reality and not let it carry you away, but at the same time being in this utter state of bliss because it's so fantastic and so fantastical that it can make you a little bit nuts. And so this is what comes out in this book, and I loved it so much because it's such a realistic account of a new relationship. And then it goes into, as the books sort of evolve, you get into like what our dynamics look like when we decide that we're going to be together and we're going to figure it out, and then we got to like overcome the ups and downs. And then in the final book, like, what do we do when tragedy strikes, and how do we navigate this, and how do we figure out our lives and not let each other consume each other, but at the same time be consumed when it's appropriate to be consumed. It's so fantastic. It's so amazing. I think you're gonna love it. I really think that you should try it. The spice is through the roof. It's like a 4 spice. I gave it an overall 4 because they do break up and get together and break up and get together, and you're just a little bit like, guys. And I think even Darren is like, if you guys break up one more time, he's like, I'm gonna start like the wedding chapels. He's like, y'all need to figure it out and stop breaking up and get back together, because I can't handle it. I've got whiplash. And I have whiplash too, but I love the whiplash. Like, it was fantastic. So I just think that you should try it. Like I said, I had never read any of C.D. Rice's books before. This is my first time reading a C.D. Rice book. I love it. The next series that I'm reading, which is Rough Around the Edges, oh my God, it's fucking over the top. It's so, so good. So I think you should try that out as well, but I will come to you with that sometime soon. So having said that, you guys, check out the Submissive series. It's really, really good. And then she has a spin-off series with one of the siblings of Jonathan in one of her other books. And so I probably will pick that up and review it for you guys as well. And so hopefully I will be back more regularly. You can see now why I have not been filming, because that naughty puppy of mine has been just causing drama in my life. And so I hope this video is not like all over the place. And there are going to be some like real little weird rough cuts because she was jumping and doing all kinds of stuff. But it's all good. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please do all the things and mash that like button and subscribe to the channel and come hang out with me some more. I promise you I will be back, and we do have some fun things planned, and I plan to deliver on all those good things. And I miss you guys so much, and I thank you for interacting with me. And that's all that I have for today. So I look forward to seeing you in my next video.